This is Troy again from the Natural Herbal Pharmacy, coming to you live from my own place, but also coming back with another very powerful natural remedy that many need to have this in their homes, no matter if you're healthy, unhealthy, disease, and you think everything's going good. This is how we're going to make Liposomal vitamin C. Now, many may have not heard of that. What is that? Because I can go down to my health food store, I can pick up the vitamin C and take it. Well, let's understand what that really is. One, when you get that manufacturer, call it and make sure and ask them where they're getting their vitamin C or what food is being used. And if they don't know what food source is coming from, very good chance that is a synthetic vitamin C. But also, when you take it from the food grade, they're losing, that's only 1/9 of the original vitamin C in the first place from how vitamin C is attracted, into food. So even though ascorbic acid, that's what it is still very powerful from that point. But when you're making liposomal vitamin C, I would actually say go get the natural vitamin C, especially from a cherry, which is down in Brazil. And if you go to my website there, go under liposomal vitamin C, and I go through what that cherry is, and that has the highest retaining natural value of vitamin C that's even in a food source. But what we're doing is what they found in the 1960s is that when you take lecithin, now lecithin is very important because 30% of our brains are made out of lecithin. Your myelin nerve sheath that protects your nervous system is made out of lecithin. When you look at your cell, and you've got that cell wall, that's made out of lecithin. That's made out of fat. Now, what's interesting about lecithin, is it has two polar regions. Now, what that means is that one side of the polar region is attracted to water, so it binds to water. The other side of its polar region binds to fat, because when you put water and fat together, don't they separate? Well, lecithin has ability to bind both of those and bind it, which is very, very unique. That's why the body loves it. So when we're talking about you want brain function, you want nerve function, you want the health of your nervous system come back, lecithin is one of the most powerful natural fats that you can take. You've got the omega-3, 6s, and 9s that make the brain function. So this type of fat is very, very nutritious to the body. But what they found is that when you put lecithin into water, it will bind around or encapture or enclose whatever was in that water. So we take vitamin C, that molecule, especially from a natural food source where it has 100% of its value, it would enclose it. When you put into an ultrasound machine, the ultrasound will actually bind it, would encapsulate it. Now, why is that important? Is when you go down and you take your vitamin C, 80% of that vitamin C is destroyed in the stomach, or it's not even used. So we're only getting 20% of what we're taking from the stores, no matter if it's from a food grade, but if it's made from synthetically, you don't want a vitamin C that's made from a synthetic source. So here you're only getting 20% of that vitamin C, so you're investing quite a bit of money for most of it being destroyed. Now, when you take this type of vitamin C, where you get it from a real food source, it's taken from a cherry, and you get it in a powder form, and you put that encapsulated, there is already a test done. You go to the website and you'll see the test case that you're getting 93, least tested, absorption rate, because it goes right through your stomach, right into your small intestines, and it gets absorbed to that level. Imagine taking a natural vitamin C that is not destroyed in the stomach. You have no stomach upset. That's the other thing with ascorbic acid, is that it's an acid and it can irritate the stomach. So you get a lot of people that get irritated. And then if you take too much vitamin C, you get the vitamin C flush. All of a sudden you've got diarrhea all day. So people go, man, this stuff isn't really that good. Imagine taking that kind of vitamin C to that level, 4 to 6 grams at a time, and having no vitamin C flush, have no stomach upset, and you're getting 93 absorption rate into your bloodstream. The other thing that's beautiful about lecithin, when it passes through your stomach, it's got the same structure as your cell. So it can easily bind to the cell and deliver that vitamin C directly to the cell. Imagine that. And you can make this in your own home very simply, and that's what we're going to go through today when we look at the different products of what you do need. Now, the two lecithins on the market that are very good, of course, is soy. Now, you can get the non-GMO soy, and if you don't like the soy because it's starting to change and it's got too much of the hormones in it, you've got the sunflower. Now, both of these you can get from my website, the products if you can, because I can get the powdered sunflower, and I also have the extract of that cherry down in Brazil. You go to the website, it will detail it. I get the 4-to-1 extract, but unfortunately, if you look at the investment, it's about $35 a pound for anything good. But when you look at what it does, it's very, very inexpensive. So when we make this, this will be the end product, and it looks just like water, but this is perfectly bound. Now, the tools that we do need, of course, is the lecithin. We also need the powdered cherry, pure vitamin C in a food, complete food form. We need distilled water, and we're only going to make, it's best to only make 16 ounces at a time. Don't get a large one of these little machines. If you go to my website again, you go to Harbor Freight, it's got the link right there for you. Click right on it, it's $30. Pretty inexpensive, I think that's with freight included. And you'll keep it, it's a nice little machine, but this is an ultrasound, so it actually sends sound waves into it. When the sound waves bind it, they bind the lecithin with the vitamin C encased. It's best if you had 2 8-ounces, like little mason jars, or you can use another measuring cup if you can. This is going to be used, this is a 1-pint jar, will be the end product when you're done. You also have another, I would be ready with another type of measuring cup. This makes it easy when you dump this, the finished product into this. Now, I only have 2 blenders to make it easier for me today, but you're going to have 1 blender. Now, for this to work, both products, lecithin as well as the cherry, needs to be in a liquid dissolved form into water, and we have to make sure it's mixed because this does not work if it's in a powder form. So what we do to make this work is you have your 1 tablespoon. You need 3 tablespoons of each product, so it's 50-50 mix. So you simply will take 1, it's not quite all there, there we go. And if it's not perfectly round, flat, you're okay. Just make sure it's kind of even on both cases. Okay, there's 3. Then you get the cherry, and you do the same thing, 50-50 mix. There's 1, 2, 3. Now we wait till that absorbs just a little bit in through there. When you look at, this is the machine, the ultrasound. Now the model number that's highly recommended is a model number 3305, and you'll see that when you go to the web page, you go right to that. Now what's unique about this little machine is that it goes on, I had learned this the hard way, and because it only has 3-minute cycles, and it automatically turns off, and that kind of, when I first started using it, I go, why was that turning off? I actually had to read the owner's manual. Imagine a man reading the owner's manual and actually saying he does. Yeah. Makes me always laugh when I do because I think I know everything, right? But what we'll do when we're done, we're going to put this completely into here. Also, when you use this, you may have to help it along, because it gets kind of sticky with this. You want to make sure you're getting all of that, except for making a mess. There we go. And all you want to do is probably blend these for about 30 seconds. Because the purpose here is to make sure it's completely bound and dissolved into the water. This one here, of course, is a little bit louder. It's kind of messy. Now what I like to do, which is not always necessary, but I'd highly recommend it, because you have your two different sources here, is before you put it into the machine, actually put both of them together so you can make sure that they are completely dissolved and bound, at least together, before you put it into here. Because what the sound is doing is actually making sure that the lecithin is binding to that vitamin C. But we're also making sure that both products are completely dissolved into water so it can work. If there's any powder form in through here, it will not bind. And it's not difficult to get it bound or dissolved. It just takes a little bit of patience, about 1 to 2 minutes. And when you have this through here, you'll simply pour the product into your device. It'll be kind of bubbly up front. Simply close it and just hit the on. Now again, this is going to go through a 3-minute cycle if you do get the small one. I'd highly recommend this because you don't need a big machine, because don't make so much. You only need 16 ounces. Now 16 ounces, when you look at the vitamin C or how much ascorbic acid is in it, is about 20,000 milligrams. And the 16 ounces, I've measured it both out to see where it is, and you're about 18 to 20, or that's 20 grams, or an 18 grams. And when you start taking this, you're going to start taking, get like a 1 ounce shot glass or 2 ounce, and just fill it half, 1 ounce, and take that, make sure it's on an empty stomach. Because if you're taking the vitamin C like this with a food, it will break down in your stomach. But when your stomach is empty, it will pass right through and absorb into your small intestine. So maybe when you first get up, start, take 1 to 2 ounces and then wait half hour to 45 minutes and do it again. You've just gotten 4 grams of pure vitamin C, and you'll have no stomach upset. You'll start to feel the effects, and you'll have no vitamin C flush. And you'll start to see the effects, and start doing that. You want to take about, at least 3 2-ounce shots per day on an empty stomach, and you'll go through this. The goal is to get through this within 2 days. Once this is made, this is the finished product, and you'll notice that it's a perfect liquid. You should be going through this in 2 days. Now, as this thing is working, go also to my front page and kind of scroll down to where you see the videos, and you'll see how this technology was used on a man who had swine flu, who had also leukemia. They first gave him an intravenous vitamin C, or a sorbate. Now, sorbic acid is a pH that's balanced to the blood, because your blood has to maintain 7.365. And you can't put a sorbic acid into it, because that would lower your blood pH and people can die. So when you're getting that IV, only 70% of what's going into your bloodstream is even being absorbed. And understand that's a sorbate acid, which is, of course, processed from food, which you're only getting 1/9 of its ability. Well, that brought him out of a coma. This gentleman had swine flu, had leukemia. He was in a coma. They said he was going to die. They wanted to pull the plug. You can look at the video and see that. They put him on IV vitamin C, and he recovered rapidly. Came out of the coma. They started noticing his chest congestion was virtually starting to go. But they also found when they took him off, it started to come back. The only way they could keep that, because IV vitamin C only worked to a certain level. Once he started taking the Liposomal vitamin C, it just went off. You just simply hit it again, and you'll see a little red light here. Also note, when that's doing that, simply take wood. Make sure it's a wood. Do not use metal. And shake that. You may not be able to see this, but this is a lot of foam. Now it's going to start to bind. Once it's fully bounded, it's going to be a clear liquid, so you can look at that. So just make sure you stir it with wood. Do not use metal. Close that right back up again. And since this is every 3 minutes, I want to make sure, I've had great success at doing 5 cycles at 3 minutes, so that's 15 minutes. But what happened when that gentleman started taking Liposomal vitamin C is when his leukemia was gone. And they recorded it within 1 year. It had completely rehealed. And that was taking this type of form of vitamin C, because it's pure food grade. You're getting virtually 100% absorption. It was tested at 93% with a real food. That's where he saw his recovery. It was on natural vitamin C, not just the ascorbic acid that's only 1/9 its strength. as you go through, when you're done with this, because I won't go through the whole thing for 15 minutes, is I have the big measuring cup, and just simply pour that into the big measuring cup. Makes it a lot easier than trying to fit a small mouth like this. And once you have it done, you'll simply pour it into that mason jar. If anyone has any questions, please email me. Again, I carry both the non-GMO soy lecithin as well as the sunflower. If you'd like to get that and can't find those sources, I give you the link to where you can find this type of ultrasonic cleaner, because you need an ultrasonic cleaner. You need your Vitamix, or at least a blender. You need a couple mason jars, distilled water, a wooden handled stirrer, and of course a decent, tablespoon to go through that. And you're starting to take these at 1 ounce, but you want to build to 2 ounces per time on an empty stomach. And you want to be taking at least 6 grams. Basically, one shot is about 2 grams. 2 ounces is 2 grams. So when you take 3 shots, you're getting 6 grams. But when the testing was done, that was equivalent to taking 50 milligrams of vitamin C IV. Quite different. And this is going to cost you, maybe originally up front with all your equipment, about $60. But when you start just getting the product, you're spending a couple dollars a day to take some of the best vitamin C you can make in your own home to recover your health or maintain your health. And I enjoy it. Never went through another cycle. Do it again. Again, if anyone has any questions, I appreciate your time. Please email me. Study this on my website a little bit, more information. I'll be happy to help you. Again, this is Troy from the Natural Herbal Pharmacy. Have a blessed day.